Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I hope you guys are all doing really well. And I hope that you guys have all had an opportunity to look at Monday's lesson and read through your exam information as well as just kind of a general overview of your AP exam. I'm going to host a Zoom meeting either Wednesday or Thursday, or Wednesday is today. Today or Thursday, in case you guys have any questions about your AP exam. And also, I'm going to start doing some review sessions for you guys next week as well because we are about 12 days out from your AP exam, which is crazy to think about that it is so close. But we're just going to continue with our review. Before I jump into this, I do want to explain a couple things to you guys that are coming up. Number one, I'm going to shift focus away from having you guys do like individual assignments because honestly, at this point, we have already been through all of our content, so I don't really see the point in making you guys do like web quests and stuff anymore. Just because really, I think you can be using this time the rest of this week and next week to study for your AP exams. And I know that a lot of you guys have multiple AP exams to prepare for. So I'm just going to continue making your review videos. I'm going to go through all of the essential knowledge up through Unit 7 and post those videos pretty much daily at this point. And then also today I am posting a comprehensive study guide for you guys to do. And that study guide is pretty lengthy. It's about 50 pages. But I'm not going to require you guys to do all of it. So here's what I need you guys to do with that study guide. Number one, if you can download it and print it out, okay? Um, because it would be easier for you guys just to make notes on it and to write your answers directly onto the study guide. If you can't print it out, write your answers on paper, okay? So I'm going to just post a daily guide of how many pages you should be looking at, what you should be going through. At the very least, I just want you to open it and read through it, okay? So, and I don't want you to answer questions you already know the answer to. I don't want you to waste your time answering basic questions that you already feel confident about and feel good about because it's just not productive. So basically what I want with the study guide is for you guys to open it up, look at the vocab and the pages for the day, whatever I assign. And I'm going to be breaking it down so that it's just an even amount. So if you want to do more or do less or go at your own pace, that's totally fine. But basically what I want you guys to do is open it up, either print it out or write your answers on a separate sheet and only answer the questions you don't know the answer to. So if you know a concept, skip over it because you're already good for your AP exam. But if something comes up that you're not sure of, look it up in your book, look it up online, shoot me an email if you have any questions about it. And then that way you are preparing um, in the most efficient way, right? So we're not just beating a dead horse, so to speak. You guys don't have to turn it in because it's for you. Your AP exam is for you. It doesn't have any bearing on your grade for the class. It's for you to get college credit. So the more effort you put into it, the more likely it is you're going to get college credit on your AP exam. So just keep that in mind. If you want to take pictures and upload it to Canvas, you can. I'll set that on your assignment that you can do a file upload so I can check over your answers. Or anytime you want to drop into the Zoom meetings and ask any questions you may have, that would be good too. But anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and move into our essential knowledge video for the day. We are picking back up with Unit 5, and we're just going to review urbanization today. So it's not going to be super long, and then you guys can go ahead and get started on that study guide. So urbanization, remember, urbanization is basically developing land, so making businesses, houses, suburbs, apartment buildings, that kind of stuff. So this can lead to depletion of resources and saltwater intrusion in the hydrologic cycle. Through the burning of fossil fuels and landfills affects the carbon cycle by increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So think about machinery being used to build houses, just industry in general. Also, people living in suburban areas, driving to work, driving their cars a long way, are burning fossil fuels and emitting CO2 in the atmosphere. Impervious surfaces are human-made structures. So an impervious surface is something that water can't flow through. So these are roads, buildings, sidewalks, and parking lots. And they don't allow water to reach the soil, leading to flooding. So this can cause flooding, but it also can lead to surface runoff, to where pollutants that are on roadways, when it rains, it will wash those pollutants into waterways. And then urban sprawl is the change in population distribution from high population density areas to low density suburbs that spread into rural lands, leading to potential environmental problems. So, some environmental problems that we think about moving into suburbs, again, construction, destruction of habitat, disruption of natural food webs, just because you are taking away, again, habitats and resources for animals. So again, if you get an FRQ talking about environmental problems, you're going to want to mention specifically animals or biotic, um, so basically just life in the environment, plants. You could mention soil as well because soil does have biotic components as well. Just a review of your ecological footprint. We calculated our ecological footprint during this unit too, but basically they just compare resource demands and waste production required for an individual or a society. And remember, your ecological footprint is measured basically in how much land it takes to um, basically sustain your lifestyle. So if we look at the breakdown of this picture, this is kind of everything that encompasses your footprint. So forest products, so like paper, lumber, carbon footprint. Do you drive a car? Do you ride your bike to work? Is it a Prius? Is it an SUV? Is it, an old gas guzzler that you had to fill up 3 times a week? Your cropland or pasture usage. So, are you a vegetarian? Are you a vegan? Are you a meat eater? How often do you eat meat? Because remember, when we eat at higher levels on the food chain, we have more of a ecological footprint, right? Because it takes so much of those producers to then feed the animals, and we don't get as much of an energy output as we have to put into them to get them to market. So if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, your carbon footprint would be a little bit smaller. Your land for your housing. So, do you live in the suburbs? Do you live in an apartment building? Do you live in a yurt in the middle of the desert? Depending on your housing and your land usage, that will contribute to your overall footprint. And then fisheries as well. So, how much fish do you eat? And is it sustainably caught? Are you eating wild caught salmon or is it farm raised? So all of that goes into your carbon footprint. And I can tell you guys, most definitely, living in the United States, all of our carbon footprint is going to be pretty big. And that's not to, shame anybody because I have a really big carbon footprint too. It's just a reality of living in a developed country. So it is really kind of up to us to be mindful about our lifestyle choices and what we do on a day-to-day basis. So talking about sustainability, this is a really big topic, and this just refers to humans living on Earth and their use of resources without depletion of their resources for future generations. So basically, if we live in a sustainable world, it means that we can reap what we need from the earth while still maintaining and protecting it so that future generations can also have those same resources that we have as well. Environmental indicators that can guide humans to sustainability include biological diversity. Remember, diversity is a good thing. Food production, average global surface temperatures and CO2 concentrations, human population, and resource depletion. So basically what that means is we can monitor these things, right? We have the ability as scientists to measure what average global temperatures are. We know how much CO2 is being emitted into the atmosphere. We know how much energy it costs for food production. We can measure biological diversity. We have, animals on endangered species lists. So we can use those as tools and we can identify trends and kind of cause and effect of what is sustainable and what is not. Sustainable yield is the amount of a renewable resource that can be taken without reducing the available supply. So if you take something sustainably, let's say we're talking about fish populations. If you were going to do sustainable fishing, you would only take enough out of the ocean that would, you know, provide for population while still letting that population of fish reproduce. So you're not running the risk of endangering the species, you're not taking more than you need, and you're allowing them to kind of just reproduce on their own. We don't practice sustainable fishing. We don't really practice a lot of sustainable anything at this point, because, you know, money is a factor. But just be aware of that concept of sustainable yield. Reducing urban runoff. So methods to increase water infiltration include replacing traditional pavement with permeable pavement. That means that when it rains, the water can seep through the pores and go to the soil. Planting trees, increased use of public transportation, and building up, not out. So when we say building up, not out, that means basically building tall apartment buildings and encouraging kind of urban living as opposed to suburbs. A really good example of this, I went to um, school at Appalachian State University, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever been up there, but it is not a huge campus. So when you think about public universities, a lot of times universities are just like spread out everywhere. But if you go to App State is a smaller campus in the mountains, and you know, being in the mountains, a lot of students were all about sustainability anyway, but the dorm rooms and just the general buildings on the App State campus are built very tall. And I used to think that was very unique about App State itself because our dorm rooms were just crazy, crazy tall. And it just seemed like the whole campus is built up rather than built out. And that's just one tiny example. This is more of like large scale like cities versus suburbs, but it is something to think about and something to maybe look for if you guys ever go up and visit or think about going to App State because App State is really nice. It's a great school. But I digress. The last thing we're going to go over today is IPM or Integrated Pest Management. And remember, that's just a combination of methods to control pest species while minimizing the disruption to the environment. So it's basically just rotating biological, physical, and then chemical methods such as biocontrol, intercropping, crop rotation, and then using natural predators as the pests. So that's just a way to reduce pests and kind of use different strategies to manage pests as opposed to just using chemicals that can be harmful. And then ultimately, this can reduce the risk that pesticides pose to wildlife, water supplies, and human health. And IPM typically minimizes disruptions to the environment and threats to human health, but they can be complex and expensive. It takes a lot more planning and a lot more money to like try to figure out what kind of biocontrol is best. And remember, biocontrol is using natural predators, so using another living organism to control the pests. Um, to intercrop and rotate crops, it just takes a lot more planning. It takes a lot more effort than just like spraying a bunch of chemicals on a field and calling it a day. So again, you have to do a cost benefit analysis and determine what is best for you, or in this case for farmers. But it's just something to be aware of. Okay, so we are almost done with essential knowledge for Unit 5. I will continue to make review videos for Units 6 and 7. We'll wrap up 5 here in the next couple days. And we're just going to keep chugging along. We're going to keep studying. You guys have any questions or need anything from me, let me know. 2 days before your exam, I'll be reaching out to each and every one of you to make sure you guys have your tickets. And then I encourage you to go back into Monday's lesson and do that practice test because if you're having issues on your computer and that practice test does not work, it means that your actual AP test will not work either. So make sure you have a device that will actually pull up your AP exam because I want to make sure you guys all get the opportunity to take it and earn some college credit. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and if you have any questions, let me know.